Sige. So for your assignment, I asked you to write or to complete the table and write the following formula for the given alkane. So you have to write first the structural formula and then the molecular, the condensed, and lastly, the line formula. So actually, I will always ask you to write first the structural formula because it's the easiest thing to do. The structural formula first before you can summarize it and make the molecular formula. So for the first one, 3,3-dimethylpentane, if you are given with a chemical name, and then you are asked to make the structural formula, ang gagawin nyo class, you start with the parent chain or the longest chain. So for example, this one is pentane. So dyan kayo mag-start. Pag gagawa kayo ng structural formula niya, so gagawa lang kayo muna ng 5 carbon kasi pentane. Before kayo maglalagay ng substituents. So ano yung substituents natin? 3,3-dimethyl. So meron tayong 2 methyl and they are found on carbon number 3. So you just number. Example, this is carbon number 1. So 1, 2, 3. Diyan nyo ilalagay yung methyl. Wait lang, tama ka siya. Yan. So ilagay nyo yan dyan. Itong 2 carbon. Before nyo siya punuan ng hydrogen. So ganun yung steps natin ha in making the structural formula. Start with the parent chain and then place the substituents and then lastly punuan nyo siya ng hydrogen. So remember, kailangan 4 lang talaga ang bonds ng bawat carbon. So for carbon number 1, syempre ito pa lang yung bond niya, so kailangan niya pa ng 3 hydrogen. And then on carbon number 2, na meron na tayong 2 bonds dyan. So, 2 hydrogen na lang din. And then in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is already complete. So you don't need to place another hydrogen there. But for the carbon on top, kailangan ng 3. And then that is also true para sa carbon na nasa baba. And then next, we have 2 bonds here. So this carbon only needs 2 hydrogen. And lastly, this carbon here at the terminal needs 3 hydrogen. Okay, so this is now the structural formula of 3,3-dimethylpentane. Do you have questions or clarifications for this? Any questions? Okay. So naintindihan nyo ha how to make the structural formula. Okay, now how about the molecular formula? You just need to summarize all the elements present in the compound, and then you also have to count how many atoms are present. So for this one, number 1, since this is just a hydrocarbon, you only need carbon here and hydrogen. You cannot see another atom in the structural formula. So you only need carbon and hydrogen. So let's count how many carbon do we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is C7. How about the hydrogen? Let's start on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16. So our molecular formula for 3,3-dimethylpentane is C7H16. Okay, very good, Nicel. C7H16. Now, the next thing that you are going to make is the condensed formula. So sa condensed formula, yung parati kong ginagawa during the naming, it's also a summary of the structural formula, but we can still see the bonding. So you start first with, you start first here with this carbon. So this becomes CH3. Isa-summarize nyo lang yan, class. And then you show the bonding. And then another carbon here. So that is CH2. And then you have a carbon and the third one. Pero sa taas, meron siyang CH3. And then sa baba, merong another CH3. So we are done with this one also, and the one at the center. And then the next carbon, this one is CH2. And then lastly, we have here the CH3. Okay, so this is now the condensed formula of our 3,3-dimethyl pentane. Do you have questions or clarifications for the condensed formula? I hope you see the difference between the structural formula and the condensed formula. Now, if you don't have question, let's move on to the line formula. Ano nga yung line formula? We will just draw lines and assume that both ends of the line have carbon and also actually hydrogen. Okay? So you don't need to write the carbon anymore. Just the lines, and then again at the end, at the intersections, we assume that there are carbons. So let's start with this carbon and this carbon. That is one line. And then this carbon is another line here. But take note that in this carbon, in this third carbon, merong carbon on top and carbon sa baba. So actually, you can write like that and like this. So yung ends na yan, merong carbon. And then let's move on with the next carbon. So you just write a line going up, and lastly a line going down. So this one now is our line formula for our 3,3-dimethyl pentane. If we count that, we will really have 5 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And yung substituents natin here at carbon number 3, they are located on top, and then the other one is nasa baba. So that is now the line formula for our compound. Any question or clarification? O baka magkaiba tayo ng sagot and then you want to clarify something? Wala? Sure na? Ma'am, sa line formula, okay lang. Pag gilagyan ng name ang end ng branches. What do you mean gilagyan ng name ang end ng mga branches, Jemuel?
For example po sa methyl, may CH3 po sa both ends po.
Ah, okay. So it looks like this. Ito?
Yes po. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So actually, I'll consider that, but next time, just don't write the CH3 anymore kasi that, ano na yan siya, automatic na at the end, it will have the CH3. Unless if it's another kind of atom, like for example, the branch is a chlorine, that's the time you write the formula, I mean the chemical symbol kung iba. Pero kung carbon pa rin siya, actually no need to write. Later, I think we'll have examples of branches na hindi carbon. So let's see kung ano yung difference nila. So for the meantime, number 1, these are the answers. So it's okay kung nalagyan nyo ng CH3 at the end, but next time you can actually omit this kasi the end of this line means meron siyang carbon and that's automatically methyl. And then that is true also with this line. Okay? Sige, anything else? Before we'll move on to number 2. Sa yung word talaga na methyl. No need to write. The line formula only contains lines. So no need to write the names and even the symbols of the branches, except for non-carbon na mga branches. So let's try the number 2 since meron tayo dito non-carbon na branch. So let's see the difference. But before that, let's have the structural formula first. 1-bromo, 1,2-dichloro. This is propane, sorry. This is propane, sorry ha. 1-bromo, 1,2-dichloro, propane. So propane lang siya. That is 3 carbons. So that is the first thing to do. You write the parent chain. Ayan, tatlo. Before you place the substituent. So 1, 2, 3. That is for propane. And what are our substituents? We have 1-bromo. So at carbon number 1, we have a bromine there. And then 1,2-dichloro. So we have 2 chlorines, both. No, the other one is found at carbon number 1, and then the other one is carbon number 2. By the way, it doesn't matter if you write the bromine sa baba and then the chlorine is on top, and then this another chlorine is nasa baba. It doesn't matter kung saan niyo siya nilagay, sa baba ba or sa taas, as long as it is connected to the correct carbon in the parent chain. Okay? Now, after writing the substituents, that's the time you fill in with hydrogen. So for example, this first carbon here already has 3 bonds. So definitely it only lacks 1 hydrogen. And then the next carbon, 1, 2, 3, that is also true. Kulang din siya ng isang hydrogen. And lastly, isang bond lang for the last carbon. So we have 3 hydrogen here. So this is now the structural formula of the compound in number 2. So again ha, it doesn't matter whether you write the chlorine on top or the bromine sa baba, as long as it is they are connected to the correct carbon in the parent chain. Now let's move on to the molecular formula. Since this one is an alkane, you always start with carbon and then hydrogen, and then the substituent. So you have there the bromine and the chlorine. Okay? So for the carbon, 1, 2, 3, we have 3 carbons. For hydrogen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And isang bromine and dalawang chlorine. Okay? So C3H5BrCl2, that is our molecular formula. Okay. What is that? C3H5. Okay, that's okay. If na-disarrange niyo siya, like ang answer niyo ay C3H5Cl2Br, no problem. That is still the molecular formula of our compound here. Kung nauna si BR, okay lang din. Pero next time you start with carbon ha, para makita talaga natin that that is an alkane. Okay? So again, next time, unahin nyo talaga si carbon and si hydrogen and ipalast nyo yung mga non-carbon substituents. For the meantime, I'll consider that na nauna si bromine. Okay? Anything else? Wala na? Sige. So for the sa kilid po nalagay yung BR. Okay lang, okay lang. I mean, you write BR C3H5 Cl2. It's okay. Pero again, next time, if I ask you to write the molecular formula, always start with carbon since this one is an organic compound. Okay? Now, next, what will be the next one? We're done with the molecular formula. Condensed formula. So we have a condensed formula. At carbon number 1, we have a CH, but we have substituents, the Cl and the Br. Again, it doesn't matter kung nagbaliktad yan sila. The Cl is on top and then the Br is the bromine is at the bottom. So what do we summarize here? The carbon and the hydrogen. So we have the CH. And then for the next one, this part here, we'll have another carbon and then isa lang din ang kanyang hydrogen. But on top, we have a chlorine. Or kung ang chlorine ay nilagay mo sa baba, it's also okay. Have no problem with that. And then the last carbon here, we have, we don't have substituents anymore, so CH3. So this is now the condensed formula of our 1-bromo 1,2-dichloropropane. Now let's move on to the line formula. So let's start with this carbon. So this is 1 here, and then the second carbon syempre is on top. Ayan. And then later ko na ilalagay yung substituents ha. So again, you have 1 carbon, another carbon, and tatlo. So this one. So pwedeng ganito. Actually, pwede din ganito, class. It doesn't matter kung baliktad yung pagka-draw nyo. Parehas lang naman yan siya, propane. As long as tama yung mga substituents. So ano yung substituents natin? Diba at carbon number 1, we have both Cl and Br. So if you write them as substituent, you can write like this. Lagay nyo si Br dyan. And then sa baba, si Cl. So ito yung time, class, na sinasabi ko na if you have substituents, you really have to write the symbol of the atom. Kasi hindi siya carbon. So again, ilalagay nyo. Pero kung carbon, okay lang na line. Kasi automatic for the line formula, we assume that at the end of the line, there is carbon. So ito, hindi kasi siya carbon, so kailangan talaga natin siyang isulat. And on carbon number 2, we have, sorry, wait lang. Ano, delete siya ma-shoot. Let's delete this. Okay, so let's have it here and then we'll write chlorine. Okay, pwede po sa baba. Again, pwede din sa baba. Pag hindi nalagay, ma'am, what do you mean hindi nalagay? Kung hindi straight, what do you mean hindi straight? Like the other one is here, and then the other one is going down. Okay lang. Kasi nakabind pa rin naman sila on carbon number 1. Basta nasa carbon number 1, walang problema. It doesn't matter kung naging ana sila, the other one is like this. Basta again, tama yung place nila. Okay? At hindi po lagyan ng dots around sa non-carbon na halogen. Hindi na kailangan ng dots. That is just to let you see the electrons kung lalagyan mo siya ng dots. Kung yung Br at Cl hindi mo talaga nilagay, mali na yan siya. Kasi kung ang nilagay nyo lang, class, is like this. Example, ganito ang sinulat nyo for the pentane, for the propane. Tapos nilagyan nyo lang siya ng ganyan, ng linya dito. And then another line here. Hindi na yan siya. Hindi na ito 1-bromo and 1,2-dichloro. Kasi hindi mo makikita si bromine and si chlorine dyan. Remember, for the line formula, we always assume that if there is a line, at the end of the line, there is carbon. So kung hindi mo nilagay si bromine and si chlorine dyan, we will assume now na carbon yung nakalagay dyan sa ends na yan. So again, uulitin ko, if the substituent is a non-carbon, like the halogens, bromine and chlorine, you really have to include the symbol in the line formula, okay, to differentiate them from the carbons. Na ay dots imuha kay nakita niyo sa YouTube. It's okay, I have no problem with that. But next time, pwede nang wala kasi I don't require naman the dots anymore. Yung sa ano kasi yan sa carbon na natira sa kanila. Kasi remember, this is organic compounds. Supposedly they will share electrons, and that for bromine and chlorine there, merong mga electrons na hindi na share. So yun yung pinapakita on that formula. Now, there are remaining electrons for bromine and chlorine. But again, I don't require that anymore. As long as tama yung inyong formula, wala nang problema. Okay? Questions for number 2? Or clarifications? Wala na. So let's have number 3. For number 3, for ethyl to methyl no name. So medyo marami ito. Again, In making the structural formula, start with the parent chain, and that is the name. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In writing the structural formula, wala ko'y problema if nagliko-liko ka ha. Kasi gusto din nimo butangan og design na ang after sa ikatulo diri na nimo siya idugtong sa baba. Walay problema as long as the parent chain is still name. Ang ako lang for the sake na dili ta maglisod, gina straight chain lang nako ang parent chain. Okay, so naka straight chain lang siya na name. And then let's place the substituent. So we have 4-ethyl and 2-methyl. Now take note, it doesn't matter also kung asa mo nag-start og count ha. If this is your carbon number 1, then your first substituent is here at carbon number 2. Dinha nimo siya ibutang. Pero there are students na nagsa-start ng count ng carbon number 1 dito. Wala din namang problema yon. If ito yung carbon number 1 mo, as long as nandito si methyl, walang problema din. Okay? So it's up to you saan kayo magsa-start ng carbon number 1. Pero for the sake na mas madali siya, ito na yung carbon number 1 ko. And this will be my carbon number 2. So dito ko ilalagay si methyl. And then at carbon number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, nandito si ethyl. So si ethyl naman, since this is a structural formula, pwedeng dito mo ilagay yung isang carbon or pwede ding straight na nandito siya. So it doesn't matter ha kung lumiko ka dito for the other carbon or you just follow the path na pataas. Okay? So that's it. That's our substituents. Need ba dapat na same ang structure sa? Hindi naman talaga. As long as tama pa rin naman yung iyong structural formula, walang problema dyan. Okay? So sige, we are done with the parent chain. With the substituents, we will just fill in the hydrogen. So for this carbon, we only have one bond here. So kailangan niya ng 3 hydrogen. And then this carbon, 1, 2, 3. So isang hydrogen na lang. Ito, isang bond lang. So 3 hydrogen din. And then this one, 1, 2. So kailangan ng 2 hydrogen. Ito, 1, 2, 3. Isang hydrogen na lang. And then ito, syempre 2. And 3 ito. So do not forget ha, 4 lang talaga ang maximum na number of bonds ni carbon. So after writing the substituents, you have to fill in with hydrogen. Kailangan tayo mag-fill in ng hydrogen. Okay? This one, 2. This one also 2. Ay, that is hydrogen ha. Okay? And then ito, sorry. And then lastly, we have 3 hydrogen. Okay? So that's it for the structural formula of 4-ethyl 2-methyl nonane. Ayan, medyo complicated sa kadami ng hydrogen. That is the reason why when I give chemical compounds for naming, I always use the condensed formula. Kaya kung structural formula, malibat na ka sa kadaghan sa hydrogen. But the structural formula will really show us the bonding patterns of our elements in the compound. So that is the structural formula. Let's have the molecular formula. And if we look at the structural formula, we only have carbon and hydrogen. Wala na tayong ibang makikita dyan na atom. So carbon and hydrogen lang talaga. And then let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 10, 11, and 12. So a total of 12 carbons. How about the hydrogen? Let's start here pababa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26. Okay? So that's it. C12 H26. This is the molecular formula of the compound. Now for the condensed formula, para di taman libat, isa-isahon na to siya ha. Let's start with this carbon. So that's CH3. Saan ako siya ibutang? Iwan ako yung space. Ayan. So let's start with that carbon that is CH3. And then this carbon here is a CH, but on top we have a CH3. Ayan. And then this one is a CH2. And then we have here a CH. But on top, we have a CH2. And pwede sa taas, pwede po diri sa kilid ha. It's up to you. Asan ninyo na siya ibutang ang ikaduha nga carbon. So we are done with this. And then next, this one. This is a CH2. This is also a CH2. Another CH2. And then CH2, and lastly, we have here a CH3. So this one is the condensed formula of our compound. Okay? And then lastly, the line formula. Wait lang, kay masubok atong mga mata din, hindi ta mga libat. Okay. Sige, let's do the line formula. Let's start with these two. Kay isang line sila. So example, kung gusto niyo pataas, okay lang. Kung gusto niyo start na pababa, wala din problema. For example, pataas ako like that. So okay na ito, okay na din ito. Mamaya na ako magawa ng substituent, and then let's add this. And then another one. Then this one. Another one. Okay, and then this one. And then this. And lastly, this one. Sorry kung dili na sila pantay. Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, tama. 9 carbons for the parent chain. And then let's add the substituent. This one is on carbon number 2. This is carbon number 1. So definitely this is my carbon number 2. Then I'll write this one. Okay. Again, hindi ko na ilalagay si CH3 on top because I assume that at the end of the line, there is a carbon. So unlike the example number 2, na kailangan ko talaga isulat si bromine and si chlorine kasi hindi naman sila carbon. Next, at carbon number 4, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is here the carbon number 4. I have a CH2, CH3. So this is 1. And then, liliko ako. Okay? Bakit? Bakit ako lumiko? Kasi kailangan ko ng intersection. So this is one line here for the CH2. At the end of the line, there is a carbon. But since meron pang isang carbon, kailangan kong lumiko. Okay? Para magkaroon siya ng intersection. So at the end of the carbon, at the end of the line, there is a carbon there. So hindi mo isusulat ang isang carbon dito sa baba ha, kasi magkahiwalay yon. Kapag sinulat mo siya, example this one, sinulat mo siyang ganito, hindi yan siya class CH2, CH3. Mag-a-assume tayo na CH3 dito and then CH3 sa baba. So hindi ito matatawag na ethyl kapag nilagay mo ang isa on top and then ang isa sa baba. Pag ethyl class, kailangan mo talaga silang idugtong dalawa. Okay? Kasi isa lang yung connection nila dito sa parent chain. Okay? So that is for number 3. Any question? Pag branch, pwede diretso. Kung CH2, CH3 kasi ang sinulat mo, that will be a combination already of the line and the condensed formula. So sa line formula, we will really use lines to represent the carbon. So sa carbon lang ha, sa carbon lang tayo magre-represent ng lines. But if it's another atom like the halogens, that's the time you really need to write the halogens. Yes, Jerna?
Ma'am, bakit po dalawa yung carbon dito sa ethyl, ma'am? Sa structural formula po.
Sa kane? This one?
Opo, ma'am.
Ethyl kasi siya, di ba? Pag sinabing ethyl, dalawang carbon. Take note yung tinuro ko sa inyo na prefixes. Pag meth, isang carbon. So that is the reason why at carbon number 2, ito, ulit, lahiyon ako ang color. So at carbon number 2, isang carbon lang ang naka-bind dyan kasi methyl naman ang nakasulat, isang carbon. Pero at carbon number 4, ang pangalan niya ay ethyl. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, and this carbon, may nakadugtong ka daw na dalawang carbon. Eth means dalawang carbon. So that is the reason why dalawang carbons talaga ang nakalagay dyan. Okay? So please take note of the names of the substituents. Meth means isang carbon and eth means dalawang carbon. Okay? Anything else? Wala na. Sige, so let's move on to number 4. Number 4 tayo. So let's start. That is 2,3,3-trimethylhexane. So hexane, let's start with the parent chain. Hexane means 6. So we will have 6 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kulang isa. And then, after doing the parent chain, let's have the substituents. So our substituents, 2, 3, 3, trimethyl. Trimethyl means tatlong methyl, but they are connected first at carbon number 2. This is carbon number 1, so this is carbon number 2. And then the other 2 na methyl are connected at, they are both at carbon number 3. So yan yung mga substituents natin. Now after writing the substituents, we will fill in now the hydrogen. So 4 na bonds ha, 4 na bonds. So ang kulang na bonds, yan yung lalagyan natin ng hydrogen. So this one is only 1 bonding, so kailangan niya ng 3 hydrogen. But this one, kompleto niya na yan, yung 4 na bonds. So again, no need to write more hydrogen there. Pero ito, kailangan niya ng 3. That is also the same here, para makompleto yung 4 na bonds. And then this time, 2 bonds, so 2 hydrogen na lang ang kulang. That is also true for this carbon. And lastly, we have here the hydrogen. Okay, so that is now the structural formula of 2,3,3-trimethylhexane. Okay, questions for the structural formula sa number 4? I hope na intindihan na yan by now kung paano siya ginagawa. Do not ever forget na hindi pwedeng lumagpas sa 4 yung bondings ni carbon. So kung may kulang ka na bond, you just fill it in with hydrogen. Next, let's have the molecular formula. So we only have also carbon and hydrogen here. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 sa baba, 8, and 9. So a total of 9 carbons. How about the hydrogen? Let's start here going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we have here C9H20. C9H20, the molecular formula for number 4. Now, how about the condensed formula? So, i-summarize natin each carbon starting here. This one is a CH3. And then, ang katabi niya is a CH. Pero on top, meron siyang substituent or branch. And that is a CH3. And then, next is this one. That is only a C. But on top, you have a CH3. And sa baba din, meron ka ding CH3. Nakakilid ba rin dito sa wait lang. Yan. Next, this carbon is a CH2. And then this is also a CH2. And lastly, we have the CH3. So this is now our condensed formula for number 4. Okay? And then, let's have the line formula. Let's start with this one. Partner sila kasi at the end of the line, meron kang carbon. Ayan, so this is the CH3, this is the CH here. Mamaya na ako maglagay ng substituent. I will continue with this carbon. So pag bumaba ako, that's another carbon here. And then, babalik ako sa taas. And then, sa baba na naman. And then this is the last one. So hanggang dyan lang siya. If you count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct. We have hexane. So 6 na carbons lahat sa parent chain. And then I'll add the substituent. So at carbon number 2, I'll have a CH3. This is carbon number 2 here. So magdodraw lang ako ng line dyan. No need to write the CH3. It's a carbon. So automatic. For the line formula, we will always assume that at the end of the line, there is a carbon. Pero pag hindi carbon, yun yung ilalagay nyo yung formula niya or yung symbol niya. And then at carbon number 3, I'll have 2-methyl. So if this is carbon number 2, then the following intersection is carbon number 3. I'll write a line here and another line going upward. So kasi dalawa. Merong sa taas, merong sa baba. So at the end of these lines, merong mga carbon. So that is now the line formula for number 4, the 2,3,3-trimethyl hexane. You have questions for number 4? Wala. Sure na gyud.
Sana, ma'am.
Okay, sige. I hope na kasi nabutan na itong mga formula, ha? Sige, let's continue. Lastly, number 5, 5-sec-butyl 2,7-dimethyl-nonane. So medyo mahaba kasi nonane. Let's start with nonane. 9 kabuok. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. 9 na siya. And then, after writing the parent chain, you follow the substituents or the branches. Ang first branch is 5-sec-butyl. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can write it here. Pwede sa baba, pwede sa taas ha. Sa baba lang ako kasi that is convenient for me. May nakasulat na sa taas kasi. So that is 5-sec-butyl. What do you mean by sec-butyl? 4 na carbons. Ayan. But the bonding is on carbon number 2. So kung meron kang 4 na carbon tapos sa second carbon yung bonding, it looks like this. Again, it looks like this ha. Pag sec-butyl, nasa second carbon ang bonding. Hindi siya sa end. Okay? Kaya kung end na siya, butyl lang ang tawag, ana. Kung ato lang ni siyang straight chain, example going there, na 4 na carbon, butyl lang talaga ang tawag. Pero pag may nakalagay na sec, meaning the bonding is on the second carbon. I mean the bonding to the parent chain. And then the next substituents, we have 2,7-dimethyl. So meron tayong methyl, but the first methyl is bonded at the second carbon and then the other one is on the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one here. Sorry. Lagay ko na lang siya on top so that I'll be freeing space. Ayan. And then after writing the substituents, that's the time mag-fill in tayo with hydrogen. So, kompleto lang natin yung 4 na bonds class. Basta 4 silang lahat. Ang mga kulang, lalagyan natin ng hydrogen. This one is a bit complicated. This one kulang ng hydrogen. Ito, kulang ng 2 hydrogen. Wait lang. Okay, baka mag-overlap sila. Yan, medyo complicated ito. And then lastly, we have here. Ayan. And then dito sa baba, hindi pa pala ako tapos. 1, 2, 3. So kulang ito ng hydrogen. Ito kulang ng 2. Ito kulang ng 3. Daghan. And this one, wala na ko space. Kulang pa ni siya 3. Dito ko na lang ilagay ha. Wala na ko space. Okay. So that is now the structural formula of 5-sec butyl 2,7-dimethyl-nonane. Medyo nakulangan lang ako ng space kasi nag-overlap na siya. But anyway, I hope your answers are also correct. Walang nasobrang na hydrogen, wala ding nagkulang na hydrogen. Okay? But sa molecular formula, we also have carbon and hydrogen only. But let's count for carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 sa taas. Nonane plus 4, 9 plus 4, 13 plus 12 methyl 15, tama. C15. Okay, and then let's count the hydrogen. Let's start here going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32. So this is C15H32. Okay, very good. And then for the condensed formula, tabang. Tabang mga langit daghan kayo siya. Wait. Sige, let's start here. This is a CH3. Gamay na lang na ko class ha, kay limited na akong space. And then this one is a CH. And then on top, we have the CH3 here. And then this is a CH2. Dahil kung nalibat na ko, habing nalibat na ko sa daghan. And then we have the CH2. This one is a CH, sorry, it should be included. This is a CH, but sa baba, meron tayong substituent. Meron ka dyang CH, ito CH3, sa baba CH2, and ito is CH3. Ayan. Hoy, ani ang quiz karon. I hope you are listening there. And then we have the CH2 here. Oops, kulang ata ang nilagay ko. Tama ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, tama. CH2 na no, dito na tayo. This one is a CH, wala na ko space. And then sa baba is a CH3. This one is a CH2. And lastly, we have the CH3. This is now the condensed formula. So, gini siya ang reason why I don't like the structural formula because it's confusing sa kadaghan sa hydrogen. Let's use mostly the condensed formula para mas madali siya tingnan. Ika-5 na carbon. CH3. Pwede man, H3C. Actually, minsan naglalagay talaga ako ng H3C class to really show you that ang carbon is bonded with another carbon. Kasi kapag nilagay kasi natin CH3 tapos CH3, it looks like that hydrogen is bonded to carbon. So minsan makikita niyo ako na binabaliktad ko siya na H3C ang nilalagay ko. Pero it's still correct. It's the same. Walang problema. Now let's have the structural formula. Let's exercise our eyes. So we have 1, 2. So this is one line. And then let's add another one here. Sorry. Let me correct this. Yan. Ay, pila na na? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is included na. And then this is 5, 6, 7, 8, and lastly 9. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, no name na siya. And then let's have the substituents. Carbon number 2, we have a CH3. So I'll write here a line. That is carbon number 2. And then on carbon number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, I'll write a line going down. This is the CH. And then we will have a CH3. We will have the CH2 sa baba. And then another CH3. So that is the sec-butyl. And on carbon number 7, 5, 6, 7, we have a CH3 here. Okay, so linya na lang siya. So no need to really write the CH2, CH3 or the methyl kasi again, lahat naman sila carbon. So this is now the line formula. Kung baliktad sa inyo class kasi nag-start kayo sa taas papunta sa baba, okay lang din naman. I'll still double check your answers as long as no name dyan and tama yung pagka-place ng mga substituents. Na si sec-butyl ay nasa carbon number 5 and yung mga methyl nasa carbon number 2 and carbon number 7. Okay, so any questions about this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay na?
Yes po.
Yes, sorry. I thought. Sige, yes, Jamal.
Pag sec-butyl or tert-butyl po, ma'am, sa structural o condensed, good nilang formula, ma'am. Okay, wag yapon, ma'am, pag naka-umbrella type, pili lang branch, ma'am. Parehong kay isopropyl.
Naka-ani?
Yes po.
This is the isopropyl, right? So, meron ka dyan C and then another C. Pero pag, what do you
Tert
mean?
or sec-butyl, ma'am.
Sec-butyl. Ano ang ginawa mo sa sec-butyl?
Nag-extend ko another carbon sa end sa isa ka
Example, this one, kani ang nakakonect sa parent chain. For example, this is the parent chain here.
Yes po.
And then, ganito ang ginawa mo? Tama, ganito ang ginawa mo? Or pwedeng C, and then this is the parent chain here. Ginawa mo siyang umbrella like this one. This, like this. Ganyan? Pwede din naman.
Yes po.
That is still a sec-butyl. I have no problem with that. As long as the connection on the parent chain is still at carbon number 2, no problem. That is still a sec-butyl. Okay? For the tert-butyl, wala ding problema for the tert-butyl. If this is the parent chain here, the connection is on the center na carbon. So, you have one carbon here, another carbon, and another carbon. This is still a tert-butyl. Okay? The tert-butyl, tert means the carbon connected to the parent chain is connected to 3 more carbons. So kung ganyan mo siya sinulat, walang problema. Kasi tert-butyl pa rin yan. Oo, parang isopropyl. Okay? I have no problem with that. Sige, anything else? Wala na. Ano siya ang ginatawag o brain exercise early in the morning. Let's pause 30.